questions. Attorney Jepsen, for the first question is for you. You mentioned in your opening statement the idea of enforcement. I think one of the things that should be clear to all of the audience is that the Attorney General is largely an enforcement job. It's not a job about your policy preferences. It's a job about how you're going to deploy the resources available to your office to enforce the laws of the state. So specifically, what areas and what statutes do you feel as though more resources are needed to enforce, and where would you spend less money, and from what statutes would you divert resources from in order to do that?
Well, actually, about 97% of the cases that are brought to which the Attorney General is a party are not at his discretion, his or her discretion, I should say. They're child support cases, child advocacy cases, lawsuits that have been filed against the state, so it's actions that the Attorney General's office has to defend. So you're really only talking about 3% of the cases that are actually brought. In my judgment, the number one issue in Connecticut today is job creation and the economic environment in which we operate. And everything I do will be seen through a prism of how it's going to have an impact on jobs in this state. One area that I will shift resources into is that under new federal law, state attorneys general will have more power with which to go after the financial services industry, mortgage fraud, mortgage lenders and mortgage brokers who are committing fraud. And so I will be committing resources there, because one of the great tragedy of the last few years was that we allowed fraud to take place, a bubble economy to arise in the real estate market. We cannot let that happen again. Another area where I will be bringing resources and shifting resources is Connecticut. There are too many businesses that are cheating with respect to paying cash under the table or misclassifying employees as subcontractors. The result of that is that cheating contractors can outcompete legitimate businesses because they have a lower cost structure, because they're not paying benefits to which employees are entitled. So legitimate businesses lose, employees lose, state and federal government loses tax revenues, and the only winner is the cheating business. So there will be more resources there that will actually help with the state budget. Thank you.
Thank you. Attorney Dean, same question.
Yes, I think I heard my opponent say that he'll enforce the law and in that way benefit law-abiding businesses, and of course I agree with that. That's the job. So let me get to what I would do to recreate an environment in Connecticut that is conducive to law-abiding businesses coming here, starting a business, thriving here. And what I will do is take the 36,000 case backlog and divide those cases into three groups. The groups with serious violations of clear-cut laws where there's actual harm to the state or to the environment or to real people, and focus more resources on those cases. And there are some cases that are brought to the Attorney General's office that should be pursued in that category that aren't. I would put more resources on that type of case. The cases that I defend, that only the lawyers win in defending, where we make a very good living arguing about what laws mean, and businesses generally win, but you can't compete with businesses in other states doing that. So I will pledge to settle those cases on favorable terms, help the agencies issue guidance so that businesses and individuals can go on their way and not be caught up in litigation. And the third group, where there's simply no facts and no law supporting these cases, should be identified, withdrawn, and we should simply say we're sorry.